Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy. Also writing is Jennifer K. Lambert, author of epic fantasy romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Delicious. Today is Wednesday, July 1st. We're into the second half of 2026, which fire horse year and all, but maybe it's a good thing that this year is going fast. It also means that we are officially into the month with the release of Among the Thorns. That's super exciting, isn't it? And I'm going to share with you all that I have a big stack of finished copies of Among the Thorns. It's not out for 2 weeks, but I have a big stack of them. So here it is. Look at this. Look at the beautiful foil cover, the gleam, the shine. It's got the beautiful, oh, I haven't even cracked the spine on this one yet. I forgot I hadn't even looked. Look, there's a lily embossed case stamp. It's a beautiful, beautiful edition. The map has grown from Never the Roses. Uh, So, anyway, I did a giveaway in my newsletter, which some of you may or may not subscribe to. And we got very low response on the newsletter, amusingly enough, which actually I don't hold against anybody because I don't open any newsletters either. I hate newsletters. I'm happy to do it to keep people in the know, apprised, as it were. But yeah, not many people answered on the newsletter. So I thought, well, let's do that instead of Instagram this time. Well, um, no, no. So I'm doing an experiment with the podcast listeners. I don't know how many of you are out there wanting a copy, but go ahead and I should have planned this out better. Ping me. Say that, ping me with the word podcast. You or just, I mean, you could use an actual sentence, but say, I heard you're doing a giveaway on the podcast and I would love to win a copy. And Assistant Karina's on vacation this week, so I am going to assimilate these and I'm going to choose winners by the end of the day on, well, let's say the end of the weekend, since it's Independence Day here in the US. Yeah, so send me a message, however, via your medium of choice, and say you would like to be entered into the podcast giveaway and win a signed copy of Hardback Among the Thorns. I am curious to see what kind of response we get here. Um, just in case, book tour information. Book launch will be at Books on the Bosque on July 14th. I plan to have some champagne and snacks there, so that should be fun. Then Tattered Cover on July 16th and Steamy Lit in Miami on July 17th. So if you're near any of those locations or want to be, Books on the Bosque and Albuquerque, of course, come on down. Other news, the Romancing the Vote auction has gone live. It is, of course, to try to vote out our fascist government. So that's what you'd be supporting. But I have several auction items up. So if you would like to check that out, I will put the links in the show notes. Otherwise, things are going just fine here. Um, oh, I do get questions a lot on the deluxe edition of Among the Thorns. I should say that now because people are upset there are not sprayed edges on this one. Bramble says they're doing fewer sprayed edges. I notice they're going to like solid colors more. Apparently, it's very expensive. It adds to the production time. There we are. But I mean, you're there for the story, right? I know all you shelf collectors are out there. But there are going to be two special editions of Among the Thorns, but neither I think has been officially announced yet. But Yes, I mean, I see some of you like commenting on social media and saying things like, blink twice if there's going to be an Owl Crate special edition, uh, which is like, I can't say on social media. Things are going generally fine here. I'm making good progress on Never the Roses 3. It is the the new writing schedule is working pretty well. For those of you who are not familiar, I'm doing Mondays and Tuesdays, taking Wednesdays off to do business and yoga, and then Thursdays and Fridays working. And that worked really well last week. June was my highest word count month so far this year. So I've been building back up again. But also last week was my best word count week all year. So that's great. Yesterday was kind of a difficult day for a couple of different reasons, and I did not quite get my 2,500 words. That's what I'm going for. I might pick them up this morning. I've got an online interview in 20 minutes, but other than that, yeah, even though it's business day, that's part of the reason why I have this extra day. So I'm hoping I can pick that up today. Uh, Other things that I have been doing, um, what have I been doing? I did a lot of gardening, which is nice. I caught up a lot of the gardening stuff. That's why I put the picture of the grape arbor on last week's podcast. Is I got that fit for human habitation. And then on Sunday afternoon, I went to see Devil Wears Prada too, which, okay, folks, I adored it. I had such a great time watching this movie. I went to the matinee on Sunday afternoon, sorry, and it was hot and windy, and it seemed like a good time to go. And the theater was packed. I think a lot of people were there to see Supergirl, which I have not yet seen. But Devil Wears Prada, the original, has long been one of my comfort watches. It's one of my favorite movies. And I've watched it many, many, many times, maybe more times than is healthy. I don't know. But I loved it. And uh, there was this brilliant combination of um, touchbacks to all of the bits. I loved all of the nods to the first one, and uh, being in on the joke because I think I caught like all of the Easter eggs because I am, of course, a true fan. But also, it was so well written in that the characters were the same people. They didn't do this lazy writer thing where they make the writer be, or make the character be like somebody totally else doing a totally different thing. Um, but they uh, had them be like the same people, but 20 years later. And believably so, like with, what do they say? A little less tread on the tires, a little more road under the tires. Excuse me. You could see how their character arcs had continued through from the first movie to the second. And they could have, as many sequels do, simply recapitulated the first movie. And there were aspects of the arc that were very similar, where you thought, oh, we're going to go down this same pattern of behavior again, right? Only it wasn't, because they've changed and things had changed. And it was just really well done. It was a terrific study in how to do a sequel because it took the foundation of the first one, celebrated it, and built upon it, and took the characters into new and interesting places. And it was very tightly plotted. It was, all of the seeds were there in the beginning that came back around to uh, the ending. So, Highly recommend. I'm so glad I went to see it. I kind of like was watching for it to come on streaming, and then I was like, just go see it, Jeffy. Uh, I have been reading. I've actually been reading the Rex Stout Nero Wolfe books for reasons. I've been reading the novellas in Fortigo, which is sort of like classic noir detective stuff, and it's interesting to read. It's a good departure. I also read Consent by Vanessa Springora, and that was an excellent read. Um, she wrote about how when she was 14 years old, she had an affair with a 50-year-old writer who was quite well known in Parisian literary circles. Her mother knew about the affair. Everybody knew about the affair because he wrote about it. He wrote books about going to Thailand and hiring a bevy of 10, 11, 12-year-old boys to celebrate desire with. And he built this entire literary career on this idea of pure love with teenage girls, of whom she was one. And it's especially in this era of looking at Epstein files and the complicity of all the people in the Epstein files, it makes it just really clear the excuses people wanted to make for her that, or for him, really, for the affair, saying things like, oh, well, that she just seemed unusually mature. And it's like, it's because these predatory types want young women, which is what it comes down to. They just want to have young women. And she goes through all of the ways that he manipulated and molded her because when you're 14, you're so easily subject to that. And that's why we have a real age of consent. In France at the time, the age of consent was 15, which is still very low. But one of the things she talks about is how the very liberal French literary circles embraced him and embraced this idea as like part of the free love movement, and that people should be able to celebrate desire. And you know, longtime listeners will know that I'm a very sex positive person, and I absolutely um, believe in teenagers having sex lives because the hormones do turn on and we do want them. And maybe this is going to be too much information for you all, but I mean, I lost my virginity when I was 16 and I felt like I waited. I was very, what, good to go. I was very interested in having sex. And my first experience was amazing and I lost my virginity to my 17-year-old boyfriend, which is why it's okay for people of the same ages to have those experiences together. If I had had that experience with a 50-year-old man, it's just not the same. And I get that people complain that they don't get like the whole power imbalance thing, or that it doesn't matter, or there's not really a power imbalance. But there's just no way that an adult person can have a one on one relationship with a teenager. You are not partners. And they don't want to be. I mean, that's the thing is that these men, unlike this guy, I should look up his name and call it out. So his name is Gabriel Matzneff. She just calls him G in the book, but apparently everybody knows that it's Gabriel Matzneff because he wrote about her. He wrote about her and called her V, and everybody he like took her to parties and introduced her to people and everything because she was his little nubile teenage trophy, right? And that pumped up his ego. Uh, it's just, I really feel like this is something that, and I know that there have been plenty of women complicit in these things, like her own mother was complicit. Um, plenty of people, women who were complicit in all of the Epstein stuff. but also I do think that it's much more likely that women are going to be the ones to step in and stop things. There are men who will too, but I think that women have to be willing to step in and protect our younger selves, basically the younger versions of ourselves. And it's our minds are not finished yet. And I think I've told this story, maybe or not. When I was 22, I dated a guy who was 40, and I thought that I was very mature. And the thing is like they do this. He always told me that I was very mature. Oh, so mature for a 22-year-old. And looking back, I couldn't handle that relationship. Um, and he was manipulative. And I wouldn't go so far as to say emotionally abusive, but there are things he said to me that stick with me to this day, where he, gave me grief about my weight. And he would come into my apartment and he would throw things away that he didn't approve of. He didn't want to stay at my apartment. And this is an interesting thing because I've had this conversation with a lot of women, and it was in this book by Vanessa Springora. They don't want to stay at your place. I mean, she was a different thing because she was technically lived with her mother, right? But when you're in these kind of controlling relationships, they want to be in their environment. They want to be in their place. They don't want to come to yours. So anyway, it's an excellent book. Highly recommend it. I feel like everyone should read it. There's a movie that was made of it, a French movie, and I haven't watched it yet, but so I don't know if it's good. Other than that, I don't know that I have all that much to say. I've been just head down writing this book. We have some old friends coming to visit tonight. That should be interesting. Um, yeah, well, you all know how I get. I think I said maybe I didn't say I started to and maybe stopped, but progress on Never the Roses 3 is I talked about yesterday on what I did and didn't do, but I did not mention that I am almost through the first act climax. Woohoo! I should hit that this week with any luck, and I'm feeling good about it. Um, there are aspects that are kind of weird and strange, but I'm enjoying that because that's how book one went, and I like that about it. So, and it's nice to know I have lots of time to write it and can reshape it later. So, yeah, rather than babble about nothing, I will sign off. I hope you all are doing well. If you're in the US, I hope that you get to enjoy the Independence Day celebration. I know it's very weird this year. It's weird and bittersweet. Um, and it's too bad because I do remember being 10 years old in 1976 and um, the bicentennial celebration, the 200 years, and how exciting it was, how much excitement and joy and celebration there was around that. And this year, that's just really feels like it's missing. And it's really too bad. Um, but in the future, I hope. So I encourage you all to celebrate as you can. And I will talk to you all next week. You all take care. Bye bye.